Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Crystal. If you're new, welcome. If you're a returning Yarny Cat, welcome back. Alright, so today I am going to do a tutorial on this cat. It is called Little Miss, and I designed it in memory of my cat Oreo that had passed away in 2024. I had to put her to sleep. She was sick, but I had designed this in memory of her. I used to call her Little Miss Oreo. But this cat is what we're going to do, and it stands about 13.5 inches from the table to the tip of the ear. I will show you how to make everything. I do not do in the round, I do joined rounds. I will show you from the smallest piece to the biggest piece of the tutorial. Now, if you are interested in what this yarn was, it was Premier Everyday Anti-Pilling in the color, I passed it up, Parfait. I think I used 3 or 4 of these, 180 yards. It is classified as a 4, but to me this is a thinner 4, maybe even a thicker 3. But yes, so this is what you will need for this tutorial. Alright, I am going to be using Premier Basics worsted. It has 359 yards. You can use any yarn you want, just be mindful that if it's thinner than this yarn, it will come out smaller. If it is thicker than this yarn, you will need more, and it will become a bigger size. Alright, so this is color Goldenrod. This is going to represent my new cat, Canella. And you will also need stuffing. You will need more than that, of course. That's a representation. You will need a row counter, at least 4 stitch markers, pair of scissors, darning needle, a size 4.0 or G hook, I believe, or F hook, not sure, but it's a 4 millimeter. You will need safety eyes. I chose gold, and I believe they are a 9 millimeter, and a safety nose, or you can embroider a nose on. Now, for the whiskers, this is exactly the same wire that I used. You can use pipe cleaners, stiffened yarn with glue, or just embroider them on where they're not sticking out. Since it is not for a child, it is for me, I probably will be using the bead wire. It's very flexible. So this is what you need, and let's get started. Alright, we are going to start this tutorial with the ears. You are going to need to make 2 of them. I will put timestamps for each part in the description box and a pinned comment. The ears, the mouthpiece, and so on. We will start with the smallest pieces first and work our way up to the biggest, which is the body and the head. It is all one piece. And then we will assemble it and do all the minor little embroidery and all of that. So, to begin, we are going to start row 1 of the ears. And we are going to make a magic ring, magic loop. If you know of an easier way of doing it, you can do your way. But how I like to do mine, I take the yarn, pinch between my pointer and thumb, spread out my middle finger away from my pointer finger and wrap around. Bring it back to my pointer finger and cross over and hold it down with my ring finger. I go under this one, grab this one and pull it out, twist, hold it there, and then grab the working yarn and pull it through. Now, I like to look at that as a secure knot, and I like to chain a loose chain so it's easy to go in that first stitch. Alright, and I usually pinch it in between my fingers. Alright, we're going to put 5 single crochets into the magic loop. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I slide them over and pull it tight. Alright, now I do joined rounds, so here's your first stitch right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're going to go in that one. And do a slip stitch. Now, how I like to do it is I pull this tight so you don't confuse it as a stitch, and then pull that tight and then chain 1. So it doesn't look like a stitch that is there. Alright, so for round 2, we're going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So 1 in each stitch. 2, 3, 4, and if you need to, kind of push the middle up because it wants to fold in on itself. Alright, and 5. So we're going to slip stitch again. Pull it tight. And chain 1. You should still have 5 single crochets. Alright, round 3. We're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch. So this is an increase row. So 1 and 2 in the first. And then 3 and 4, as I like to count, in the next one. 2 in the next. 2 in the next. And 2 in the last. Now you should have 10 single crochets. And then slip stitch in your first stitch. Pull tight. Chain 1. Alright, round 4. We're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So just in case you can't find your first stitch, it's where you slip stitch. right there. All right, so one single in each stitch around. So you should still have 10 at the end of this row. Okay, last one. Slip stitch and chain 1. All right, row 5. All right, so for round 5, we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first stitch and then 2 in the next stitch. And that's what we're going to do all the way around. 1 and then 2. So 1 single in the next, and then 2 in the next stitch. 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next. 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next stitch. All right, 1, and then in the last stitch, put 2. All right, for round 5, you should have 15 single crochets now. Slip stitch, chain 1, round 6, it's going to be 1 single crochet around. This is long enough now if you want to stuff your tail in there. If you need to pull it tighter, you can before stuffing it in. We are not going to be stuffing this piece. It will be flat. All right, so round 6, 1 single crochet in each stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. All right, slip stitch, chain 1. Round 7, we are going to put 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 in the next one. And that's what we're going to repeat this round. 1, 1, and then 2. 1 single in the next, 1 single in the next, and then 2 in the next. Okay, again, 1 in the next, 1 in the next, and then 2. 1, 1 and 2, 1, 1 and 2 in the last. All right, so for round 7, you should have 20 single crochets now. For round 8, we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch. First, I got a slip stitch, chain 1. All right, so 1 single all the way around for round 8. All right, slip stitch, chain 1. Round 9, we're going to do 1 single in the first stitch, 1 in the next, and 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next. So it's going to be 1 single crochet over 3 stitches and 2 in the 4th one is what we're going to repeat for this round. And then 2, 1 in the next, 1 in the next, 1 in the next, and then 2. 1, 1, 1, and then 2. 1, 1, 1, and 2 in the last. All right, for round 10 is going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. So at the end of round 9, you should have had 25 single crochets. You should have the same amount for round 10 as well. So just 1 single in each stitch around. Slip stitch, chain 1, round 11, we're going to do 1 single crochet in the first 4 and then 2 in the next. So 1, 1, 1, 1, and 2 in the next. So 1 single crochet over the next 4 and then 2 in the next. 1, 1, 1, 1, and then 2. All right, again, 1, 1, 1, 1, now 2. Again, 1, 1, 1, and 1. Now 2. All right, last set. 1, 1, 1, 1, and 2 in the last stitch. Now you should have 30 single crochets. Slip stitch, chain 1. All right, round 12 is the last round for this one, and it's just 1 single crochet around. So 1 single crochet in each stitch. All right, now we're going to slip stitch one final time. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to take this edge, if you can see it, and we're going to turn it to where it is on the edge here. So your slip stitch row is here. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet this piece together. So line up your stitches. Kind of like that. And we're just going to single crochet it together. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just catch 2 stitches as best as you can. Okay, so there might be like 3 stitches here. Don't worry about it. Just go through, do a single crochet, kind of fasten it off, and we're going to need a tail to sew this onto the head. What I normally like to do is I pull a good amount out and wrap it around the edge at least once or twice, just so I know I have enough. Actually, so I'm going to redo that. So I'm going to triple the tails and wrap like that and then cut. So I make sure I have enough to go through. All right, and that is the ear. And when we sew it on, we will kind of curve it like that. So there's your ear. Make your second one, and yes. All right, this next piece we are going to do is the shoulder piece. You will need to make 2 of these as well. So we are going to start with row 1. This piece is worked flat and turning. All right, so what we're going to do for this one, we're going to leave a short tail long enough to thread onto a darning needle and to sew in. So a couple inches, and then make a slip knot. So it slides on the side of the working yarn is what I like to do. All right, and we are going to chain 11. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. All right, so we are going to skip the first chain and go in the second chain from the hook and do a single crochet. We're going to do that with the remaining 9 chains. So just put 1 single in each of the chains. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the last one, which is 10. All right. We're going to chain 1 and then turn our work. So for row 2, we're going to put 1 single crochet across. So 1 in each stitch. That's 5. And this is 9. Now, you will see your last stitch right here. That's where we skipped and did the... So, if you turn it over, you can see it right there. Make sure you get both of those loops and do your last single crochet. All right, chain up 1, turn, row 3. Alright, you should still have 10, of course. Alright, so row 3, we are going to start out with a decrease. This is a normal decrease, not an invisible decrease, so you're going to go through the whole stitch. Draw up a loop, go in your next stitch, and draw up a loop. Yarn over, and there's your decrease. Alright, we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now you should have 1 stitch left. It kind of looks a little odd, but it's right there. We're going to put 2 single crochets in this one. Alright, chain 1 and turn. You should still have 10. Alright, so row 4, we're going to start off with an increase in this first stitch. So 2 single crochets in that first stitch, 1 in the next 7. So 1 single crochet in each stitch of the next 7. Six and 7. You should have 2 stitches left, 1 here, 1 here. We are going to do a decrease. Same as before, go through the whole stitch and draw up a loop. Go through the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, and decrease. Chain 1 and turn. Into that row, you should still have 10. Alright, row 5. We're going to start out with a decrease this time. So first stitch, go in your first stitch and draw up a loop. Go in the second stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over. There's your decrease. Alright, 1 single crochet in the next 7 again. So 1 and 7 of the stitches. And if the piece curls, that's normal. Alright, you should have 1 stitch left. We're going to put 2 single crochets in that stitch. There's 1, and there's 2. Chain up 1 and turn. Row 6, we're going to start out by doing 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you should have 4 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do 2 decreases. There's 1. And there's 2. Chain 1 and turn. For that row, you should have 9 stitches. All right, row 7, we're going to start off with a decrease. And 1 single crochet in the remaining stitches. All right, 1 in each of the stitches, which should be 7. There's 1 down here at the corner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then that one that kind of looks like it's hiding. So that's number 7. We're going to chain 1 and turn. You should have 8 single crochets on this row. All right. Row 8 is our last row. All right, so we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first stitch. We're going to do a half double crochet in the next. So you're going to yarn over, go in your stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. The next stitch is going to get 2. No, sorry. The next 2 stitches will have 1 double crochet in each. So yarn over, go in your stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, again. All right, the next 2 stitches will get 1 half double each. And then your next stitch, you have 2 stitches left. Your next stitch will get a single crochet, and then you will slip stitch into this last stitch. Now, we're going to chain 1, pull it tight, and we're going to leave a long tail to sew. And when we sew these pieces on, you're going to need to make 2. I forgot to state that in the beginning. You will need to make 2 of these. So make sure your yarn tail will wrap around at least like that. I always like to have enough, better than not have enough. All right, now depending on which side you're sewing this on, for the right front leg, you're going to sew it on this way. We'll go over this again later. For the left front leg, you're going to sew it on this way. So on each piece, try to remember which one you are going to do for each one. And we are going to make this the left side. And so you're going to sew in your tail here. So take your darning needle and you're going to find your single crochet legs from that first row and just kind of hide it a little bit. You don't have to go in and out a bunch of times because this is going to be sewn down. If you want, you can go through once more just to make sure. because when you sew this piece on, you're going to sew completely around with the tail. And that is the shoulder piece. All right, we are going to start the mouthpiece. This is round 1. We are going to do the magic ring, so pinch between your thumb and pointer finger, wrap and overlap, go under, pull, twist, grab your working yarn, pull it through, alright, we're going to tighten down this knot and chain 1. Alright, we're going to put 5 single crochets into the magic loop. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slide it over, tighten it down, we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch, tighten and chain 1. Alright, round 2, we're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch. So there's 2, 2 in the next, 2 in the next, 2 in the next, and 2 in the last one. Alright, you should have 10 single crochets now. Slip stitch, tighten, and chain 1. Round 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch and 2 in the next one. And that's what we're going to repeat all the way around. 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next one. 1, and then 2. Whoops. Caught a string there. 2, 1, and then 2 in the next, and the last 2, so 1 in the second to last, and 2 in the last stitch. Alright, for round 3, you should have 15 single crochets, so slip stitch, chain 1. Round 4. Alright, so this one's going to be a lot different. It's going to start looking a little bit odd, but it'll all work out. Alright, so your first stitch gets 1 single. The next stitch gets 2 single crochets. We're going to repeat that once more. So 1 in your next stitch, 2 in your next. Alright, now we're going to do a decrease. Now, there are 2 ways you can do a decrease. You can go through the front loop, draw up a loop, go in the next one and draw up a loop and yarn over and pull through all three, or you can do the invisible decrease. That's where you go through the front loop, go through the next front loop, yarn over and pull it through. All right. I messed up. I missed a stitch. Sorry. All right. So after, I am so sorry. After the, let's go back over this. We're going to have 1 and then 2 in your next, 1 and then 2 in the next. The next one's going to get 1. I had overlooked that. All right, and then a decrease. So, sorry about that. All right. Now in the next stitch, which is, if you see, that is the section of the decrease. This is your next stitch right there. That stitch is going to get 3 single crochets. All right. A decrease. And then we are going to do one single crochet and then 2 single crochets in the next. And then we're going to repeat that once more. 1 and then 2 in the next. And you should have 1 stitch left. Put 1 single crochet. For a count of 19 stitches. I know it's an odd number, but you can kind of see how it's making a point up here. All right, that will be the ridge of the mouthpiece up here. And don't worry, as with all my amigurumi, the slip stitch row will be under the bottom of the mouth. You won't even see it. I always try to hide these rows. All right, so round 5 and 6 are the same. So we are going to do 1 single crochet times 7. So in the first 7 stitches, you're going to put 1 single crochet in each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're going to do a decrease. And then in the next stitch, we're going to put 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Now a decrease. And you should have 7 stitches left. 1 single crochet in each of the remaining 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, slip stitch, chain 1. All right, round 6 is going to be the same thing. So 1 single crochet in the first 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 1 decrease. The next stitch will get 3 single crochets. And a decrease. And then 1 single crochet in the remaining 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, at the end of round 6, you should still have 19 single crochets. Round 7. All right, I'm going to shove this tail in there. All right, round 7, we are going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 2 in the next stitch, and then we're going to repeat that 2 more times. So 1, and then 2 in the next. All right, once more, 1, and then 2 in the next. Next, we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then we are going to do a decrease. My hook keeps coming out. All right, the next stitch is going to get 3 single crochets. All right, and a decrease. All right, in the next stitch, we are going to put 1 single crochet, and then in the next, we're going to do 2, and then in the next, we're going to do 1, and then in the next, 2 singles. All right, and repeat it once more. 1, and then 2, and in the last stitch, put 2. Now, you should have a total of 26. Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Perfect. Okay. All right. Slip stitch. Chain 1. Round 8. All right, we are going to do 1 single crochet in the next 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. All right, we are going to do a decrease. And then in the next stitch, we're going to put 3 singles. All right, and followed by a decrease. And there should be 10. Okay, so yes, 1 single crochet in each of the next 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Slip stitch, chain 1. For round 8, you should still have a count of 26. All right, for round 9, we are going to do 1 single crochet in the first, followed by 2 in the next, and we're going to do that 4 more times for a total set of 5 repeats. So that's 1. That is set 2. That's set 3. That's set 4. And set number 5. Next is 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, and then in the next stitch is 3 single crochets, followed by a decrease, and then we should have enough to do 5 sets of 1 and then 2 again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, and 1, 2. Okay, good. Good. All right. So 1 in the next stitch, and then 2, and repeat it 4 more times. So 1, and then 2, 3 more times. 1, and then 2, 2 more times. 1, and then 2. Once more. 1 and 2 in your last. All right, now you should have slip stitch, chain 1. You should have a total of 36 stitches. All right, round 10, and this is our last row. We're going to do 1 single crochet in the first 16 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, 16. All right. We're going to do 1 decrease. Three single crochets in the next one. A decrease. And the remaining 15 single crochets. So 1 single crochet in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. All right, so slip stitch, chain 1 as a fasten off. Now this looks odd, but it will be sewn on like this. There is a ridge right here. You can kind of see. So what we're going to do is we are going to make it stand up when we sew it on. And we are going to insert the nose. All right, so we're going to make sure we have enough of a tail to sew this onto the face. All right, and where you want to insert the nose is at the bottom of where the ridge will be. So right about there. Okay, actually the ridge, if you look, here's the curve where we did the last 3, and the decreases are here and here. Poke the decreases inside. There's your ridge. I am sorry. So before we stuff it, we will make that a little more prominent, but there's where the ridge is supposed to be. The decreases are supposed to be on each side. All right, now take your safety nose and you're going to go in between round 1 and 2 at the end of that ridge. Like that. And then put your back on it. And there is the mouthpiece. We will embroider the mouth later. All right, so we are going to do the tail now. So round 1, We are going to start out with a magic ring. And we're going to put 5 single crochets into the magic ring. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Scoot it over. And tighten it down. Alright, now we're going to slip stitch. And chain 1. Round 2 through 4 is going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. So you're just going to do 1 single crochet around in each stitch for rows 2, 3, and 4. And then at the end of each row, slip stitch and chain 1. Three. Round 3, same thing. 1 single crochet in each stitch. And if you're not sure where's your stitches, go back and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And shove your little tail in if you can. Round 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that tail won't be a problem. Alright, slip stitch. Chain 1. Round 5. We're going to put 1 single crochet in the first stitch and then 2 in the next. And then you're going to do that again. 1 and then 2 in the next, and then you should have 1 stitch left. Put 1 single crochet in the last stitch. Now you should have a total of 7 single crochets. Slip stitch and chain 1. Rounds 6 through 20. Alright, 6 through 20 is going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch around. At the end of each row, you should have 7 single crochets. And don't forget to slip stitch and chain 1. And I will meet you back on round 21. All right, round 21 is an increase round. We are going to put 1 single crochet in the first stitch and then 2 in the next. We're going to do that again. So 1 single and then 2 in the next. And then again, 1 single and then 2 in the next. And then you should have 1 stitch left. You're going to put 1 single crochet. Then you're going to slip stitch, chain 1. All right. Rounds 22 through 35 is going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch around. After row 24, start stuffing it slightly. Do not stuff a lot, just a tiny bit. I'll do 22 and then I'll come back at 24 to show you how I stuff it, and then I will meet you back at the end of 35. You should have 10 single crochets now. I'll just 23, 1 stitch around. Won't take long. I'll do 23 and 24 and then show you how to stuff it. I caught a string on that one. $24. All right. And what I normally like to do with my stuffing is I put it in a ball and kind of roll it. It kind of compacts it a little, and it makes it easier to put in smaller spaces. So you don't want to stuff it too much because you want it to still bend a little. The tail will curve around to the front. So just a little, just to fill the gap. Stuff it as you go, and I will meet you back at round 36. You should have 10 single crochets after each round. Make sure you slip stitch and you chain one, tightening them both down. All right, round 36. We are going to do 1 single crochet in the first 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now in the next stitch, we're going to put 2 single crochets. And then we're going to repeat that again. So 1 single in the next 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in the last stitch, 2 single crochets. I'm going to slip stitch, chain 1. Rounds 37 through 50 is going to be 1 single crochet a round, and at the end of round 36 and 37 through 50 you should have 12 single crochets. So rounds 37 through 50 is just 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Remember to stuff as you go lightly, and slip stitch and chain 1 at the end of every row. All right, and I will meet you back at round 51. All right, round 51. This is what it's looking like so far. All right, so round 51, we're going to, it's another increase round. And we are going to start off by doing 1 single crochet in the first 5 stitches. Four and number 5. And then 2 in the next. And then we're going to repeat that once more. So 1 single in the next 5. And then in the last stitch, do 2 singles. This should increase your stitch count to 14 now. Slip stitch, chain 1, add some stuffing. All right. rounds 52 through 55 will be one single crochet in each stitch around. So your stitch count now is 14. All right, slip stitch, chain 1. All right, I'm going to meet you back at round 56. All right, round 56, we are going to do one single crochet in the first 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now in the next one, we're going to do 2 single crochets. And then we're going to repeat that once more. So 1 single in across 6 stitches, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and in the last stitch, 2 single crochets. Now this should increase your stitch count to 16 stitches. Slip stitch, chain 1. All right. Rounds 57 through 58 is 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Okay, slip stitch, chain 1. All right, I will meet you back at 59. I'm going to do round 58, and I'll meet you at 59. Make sure you slip stitch and chain 1 at the end of 58 and stuff as you go. All right, round 59, we are doing another increase round. We're going to do 7 single crochets. So 1 single in each of the first 7 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then 2 in the next stitch. We're going to repeat that once more. 1 single in the next 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then 2 single crochets in this last stitch. All right, slip stitch, chain 1. All right, you should have a stitch count now of 18. Round 60 is going to be 1 single crochet around. So just put 1 single crochet around. All right, slip stitch, and chain 1. All right, now we are going to do something different. These are called short rows. We are going to work back and forth, but you do not chain when you turn, okay? This is for the bend in the tail. It will make it curve. All right, so we are going to do 6 of these and then join it back into the round. All right, we are going to do 12 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We are going to turn our work. Do not chain 1, okay? Just go ahead and turn. Now we're going to do a decrease. So you go in your first stitch. We're going to do a normal decrease. Do not go through the front loops. All right. And then we're going to do 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You should have 2 stitches there left. Do a decrease. That should give you 10 stitches. We are going to turn again. Do not chain. We're going to do a decrease. And we're going to do 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Do another decrease. You should have 8 stitches now. All right, we're going to turn our work without chaining. We're going to do decrease in the first 2. And then 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And another decrease. All right, and we're going to turn again, decrease, two single crochets, one and two, and then a decrease. Last one, we are, turned it the wrong way. All right, we are going to do two decreases at the top. And then turn, and then do two single crochets here at the top. It's going to look a little funny when we come back around to it, but this is your first stitch. All right, now we are going to put three single crochets down this side. Just evenly space them out wherever you can. One, two, let's put the last one closer. Three. Then we're going to do 6 in the front. Now, this is not a stitch. Make sure you skip that. Go to this one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then if you look, here's where we did the 2 at the top, put 3 evenly here. So let's put one right about there. One around there. And one there. All right. Now, our new starting point is all right. So, if you look where the top is here, there should be a stitch here and here. You want to slip stitch like that. And then chain 1. And that is our new starting point. Now we are back to round 61. Well, that was 61. We are on 62 now. And you might want to stuff the hole. And let's do 62 first. It's just going to be one single crochet around, so that was the slip stitch. And then the next one is kind of hard to get in there. And then the 3 that were down the side. And then just one all the way around. All right, you should have 14 stitches now. Slip stitch, chain 1. Round 63. All right, 63 is our last round. Now, I actually just counted and I have 15. So don't worry about the stitch count. If it's one off, it'll be all right. But we are going to increase on this round. But it's going to be front loop only. And you're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch on the front loop. So just 2 single crochets around in the front loop only. So since I had 15, that will be a total of 30 stitches. All right, so now we're gonna slip stitch into that first stitch, chain 1 and pull tight. Now we want a long tail to be able to sew this to the body, and it will go like this, flat against the body. So make sure you wrap enough around and snip your tail. No pun intended for the tail. All right, and this is what the tail looks like. All right, so now we are going to do the front leg, and you will need to make 2 of these, of course. We are going to start round 1. Now, before you start, I would suggest leaving a tail probably about 12 to 18 inches before you make a slip knot. We are going to do a chain and then form a ring. So you will need this tail to sew it to the body. All right, so make your slip knot with your tail, and we are going to chain 21. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. All right, normally we'd go in here. We are going to turn it on its side and go into the back bumps here because we want a nice chain edge to sew together when we sew it to the body. All right, so skip this first chain on your hook, turn it, and go into the back bump in the second chain. And just put one single crochet in each back bump. It's a little more time consuming, it goes slower, but if you see, we'll have this nice edge to sew around. All right, coming to the end. Got 2 more. All right, now you're going to turn it, and then you're going to slip stitch into this first stitch here. To form a ring. Tighten it down. Chain 1. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and thread and connect the tail. You don't have to right now. All right. So, rounds 2 through 4 is 1 single crochet around and just 1 single crochet in each stitch for rounds 2, 3, and 4, and you should have 20 single crochets each round. Alright, then slip stitch into your first single crochet and chain 1. Now, I'll show you what I meant about the tail. So you thread your needle, and what you want to do is go from the back. You can either go in this first stitch or this little bump, whichever. Pull it 2. And then go back through the other side. And you snug it down, bring it back through where you just went in, and it will lock it kind of in place, so when you go to sew, you'll be able to. Alright, so work rounds 3 and 4, and I'll meet you back at round 5. Alright, round 5. So we are going to start decreasing for the leg a tiny bit. So we're gonna do 1 single crochet across 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now we're going to do a decrease. We are going to do an invisible decrease where you go through the front loop only. Yarn over and pull it through. Alright, there's the decrease. We're going to do that once more. 8 single crochets. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You should have 2 single crochets left. We're going to do another decrease. And you should have 18 single crochets for round 5. Alright, slip stitch and chain 1. Round 6 is 1 single crochet in each stitch around. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Round 7, a decrease round again. Alright, so we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Another decrease. And then we're going to repeat that once more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a decrease. That should leave you with 16 single crochets. Alright. Rounds 8 through 29 is 1 single crochet in each stitch around. I'll do row 8 with you. And at the end of rounds 8 through 29, you should still have 16 each round. Don't forget to slip stitch and chain at the end of each row, and from this point on you will stuff as you go, leaving about the first ½ inch unstuffed. So only stuff this part right here. We want it kind of flat when we sew it to the body, so it would kind of be like this. Alrighty, I will meet you back at the end of 29. Alright, I am at the end of round 29. What we are going to do now is I want you to join it and fasten off. We are going to change our starting point. Alright, so here is your join. I want you to go on the right side of your join. That's that. And count 1, 2, 3 stitches back. And that's where we're going to connect the yarn. You don't need a very long tail. Pull it through and then shove it inside the side of the stuffing so it stays secure. And we are going to make a small slip knot. And join it and pull it tight. Alright, that is our new starting point. We are going to do 3 short rows. So go back into that same stitch and do 1 single crochet. That's a little loose, sorry. Alright. We are going to do 7 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3. This is where the join is. So 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Alright, so we are not going to chain at all. We're just going to turn. We're going to do a decrease in this first 2. Do a regular decrease. Then we're going to do 4 single crochets, 1 on each in each stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You should have 2 stitches left. Do a decrease. Again, we're going to turn our work without chaining. We're going to do a decrease. Two single crochets. And another decrease. All right, now we are going to join it back in the round. So put one single next to where the decrease is and one here. So we're going to put 2 down the side of it. The next single crochet will go here, not there, because that's where that stitch is connected, so right there. And we will be doing 8 single crochets, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're going to put 2 up the side here. So 1 there, and 1 there. That should leave us 4 on top. Yes. So 1, 2, 3, and 1 has this little knot. That's where we did the decrease. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now these are the 2 we did down the side at the first of it. So we're going to slip stitch and chain 1. Now that was round 30. We should have 16 single crochets still. All right, so rounds 31 through 34 are 1 single crochet around. Let's check our stitch count. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Perfect. All right, slip stitch, chain 1, and I will meet you at the end of round 34. Also, I'm going to show you how to stuff this just in case, because you want to fill out the bend of the paw, but you don't want to do it too much. Make sure you finish filling the leg part right there. But you want enough stuffing so this right here kind of will poke out a little. That's good enough for now. If you get it too full, then you'll catch stuffing as you're crocheting. All right, now I will see you back at round 34, end of 34. All right, I just finished round 34. And what we're going to do now, we're fixing to do the toes. I want you to take your stitch markers and mark, here's the join, mark that first stitch, and then count to stitch number 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Place another marker in stitch 5. and then count to stitch number 7. So 5, 6, 7, and place another marker. And then stitch number 9. So 7, 8, and 9. This is where we are going to join our yarn for each individual toe. There are going to be 4 toes. This might seem a little hard. Just stick with it, and I think you will be fine, because it's so small. Alright, so I guess you can take out the stitch marker for the first toe, which is stitch 1. And we are going to do 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now what you want to do is bring your yarn to the back side of your work, and then we're going to join in that first stitch there. So that's why I said bring your yarn to the back, because you don't want it in the way when you're joining. It is a little hard at first, but I think you'll get used to it. You do not have to slip stitch, just do a single crochet. Alright, and we're going to do 3 more single crochets. If you have to, spread your stitches apart like that. There's the second one. Third one is right here. And the last one is right there. Alright, now chain 1, pull tight. Actually, no, do not chain 1. Sorry about that. Do not chain 1. Alright, so we are going to leave a tail about that long. Snip your yarn and pull it through. Take your darning needle and we are going to go, you should be able to see the 4 stitches. Stitch 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go through the front loops only on each one. Stitch markers in the way. There we go. Alright, there's the first one. Sorry, off camera. Second one. Third one. And the fourth one. Now we are going to pull it tightly closed like that to where it comes to a point. And this is going to be the bottom of the foot. So bend your yarn tail to where it's on this side and go in to the toe and through the foot. Like that. Now, if you want, you can just shove it inside. We're going to do one more toe, and then we're going to stuff it because it will be too close to get more stuffing in. Alright, so now we are going to connect in this second stitch marker. So same as before, we are going to make a slip knot. And then join it. But the difference with this toe is we're only going to do these first two here and here. And then we are going to skip all of these. Bring your yarn to the back of your crochet hook. And we are going to go into the last two. So you skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of them, and you should have 2 left there. So you do 2 single crochets on the back side, like that. And then again, bring your yarn behind your hook. And if you have to put your finger inside like this to help hold it up, grab your stitch and do a single crochet. And do 3 more singles, one that's on the front, and the 2 that are on the back. One is kind of here off to the side. And one right there. Alright, pull a little tail through. Thread your needle. And again, we are going to go through the front loops only. First and second stitch. Oh, I missed one. It's down here. So, first and second. Third. And then the fourth stitch. And then pull tightly closed. And again, come to the back. And go through. Alright, now we need to add some more stuffing to the foot because the next two we won't have a chance. Now, if you notice there is a small gap there, I will show you at the end how to fix that. Alright, so let's stuff the foot. This is the last chance we're going to have to put a good amount of stuffing in it. All right. And we don't want it, we want it kind of tapering to a flat point there, like that. All right. So we got 2 more toes left to do. All right, so, excuse me, for the 3rd toe, it's going to be very similar to the 2nd toe we did. 2 stitches from the front and 2 from the back. So this one and the next one, and then bring your yarn to the back. And we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, and you should have 2 back here. Oh. Okay. Now, again, bring the yarn to the back. Find your stitch if you have to. Very hard to do on camera. All right, 1. 2. 3 and 4. All right. Then we are going to do through the front loops only and close it off. And again, if you can get your finger in there, catch this loop on the side there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pull closed. I'm going to move that one because there's only 4 stitches left anyway, so I can get this in there. All right. For the last toe, and if you need to, you can shove a little bit more stuffing in there real quick. I think that's actually good enough for mine. All right, last toe. This one will be similar to the first one we did. Slip knot got too tight. All right. Problem's out of the way, hopefully. All right, 1 single crochet in that stitch we joined, 1 in the next, hide that tail in there. I tell you, this is really hard to do on camera. All right, 3 and 4. Bring the yarn to the back. For one, it's such an odd shape. All right, there's 1. Now we got to do 3 more single crochets. All right. There we go. Now, you want an extra long tail on this one, because we're going to fix the gaps. All right. Thread the needle, and we're going to close the toe. First stitch is here on the side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, pull closed. Bring the string to the back. We're just going to go through the foot. All right, we're going to go back in up here to the side. All right, and you're going to want to go through the middle of each of the toes. Just get wherever you can and go all the way through. Slightly pull. And adjust as you need. And weave it in a couple of times following your stitch direction. Don't pull too tight unless you're ready to snip off your tail. And what I do is I look where the yarn tail is and I put it under and pull tight. Snip it off and then pull up, and it pulls that tail in. All right, now kind of shape the foot a little bit like that. And now we know which way to sew this up because of the toes. All right, so now we are going to thread this end, and we are going to just line up our stitches and sew it closed, pulling slightly tight Almost there. All right, now we are going to leave this tail to sew onto the body. Make your second leg, and then we will begin with the back legs. All right, so we are going to start the back leg, but first I wanted to state I apologize for going off camera a little bit on the third and fourth toes. I was rewatching the footage and realized I kept pulling the front leg off camera. Sorry about that. I'm going to try to stay in frame. All right, so for the back leg, this is round number 1. We are going to start with a magic ring. Now you will need to make 2 of these. All right, so chain 1. We are going to put 6 single crochets into the magic ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Slide your stitches over. Pull your tail. All right, and now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch. Tighten it down. Chain 1. All right, you should have 6 single crochets for round 1. Round 2 is 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So 1 and 2. 2 in the next. 2 in the next. 2 in the next one. 2 in the next one. And 2 in the last. So that increases it to 12 stitches. For round 2, slip stitch, chain 1. Round 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch and 2 in the next. And that's what we're going to repeat all the way around. 1 in the next and 2 in the next. 1 and then 2 in the next. 1 in the next and then 2 in the next. 1 and then 2. 1 and 2 in your last. You should have 18 stitches for round 3. Round 4, we're going to do 1 in the first, 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next. So what we're repeating this round is 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. 1 and 2. 1, 1, and then 2. 1, 1, and then 2. 1, 1, and 2. 1, 1, and 2 in the last. Slip stitch, chain 1. All right, so for round 4, you should have 24 single crochets. All right, round 5. It's going to be 1, 1, 1, and then 2. 1 in your first, 1 in the next, 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next. I'm going to repeat that with you once more, and then I'm going to finish out the row, and I'll meet you on row 6. So 1, 1 in the next, 1 in the next, and then 2. Don't forget to slip stitch and chain 1 at the end. All right, at the end of round 5, you should have 30 single crochets. Round 6, we are going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 single crochet in each of the next 4, and then 2. So 1 in each 4 stitches, and then 2 in the next. All right, once more. 1, 1, 1, 1, and then 2 in the next. Okay, so finish row 6, and you should have 36 stitches at the end. Don't forget to slip stitch and chain 1, and I'll meet you at row 7. All right, so round 7, it's going to be 1 single crochet in the first 5, and then 2 singles in the next. So 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1. Normally, what I do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in the next one, I would say 1, 2, 1, and 2. But I don't want to mess up y'all's counting, if y'all are counting. So 1 single in each 5 stitches, and then 2 in the next is what we will do on this round. now 2 in the next. All right, so at the end of round 7, you should have 42 single crochets, and I will meet you back at round 8. All right, round 8 is our last increase round, and we're going to keep following suit. We're going to do 6 and then 2. So 1 in the first, 1 in the next, 1 in the next, 1 in the next, 2 more. All right, and then 2 in the next one. I'll do that one more time with y'all. 1 single in the next 6. All right, and then 2 in the next. All right, that's what you're going to repeat this round. And at the end, you should have 48 single crochets. All right, so rounds 9 through 11 is going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And you should still have the same stitch count of 48 at the end of 9, 10, and 11. And it will start to curve more. All right. So do 10 and 11. And don't forget to slip stitch and chain 1. And I will meet you back at 12. All right. Round 12, we are going to start decreasing. And we are going to do 1 single crochet in the first 6 and then a decrease. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, and now a decrease. We're going to do the invisible decrease. You're going to go through the front loops, yarn over and pull through. And that's what you're going to repeat on this round. So 1 single in the next 6 stitches. And then a decrease. All right, so keep repeating that around, and you should do that 4 more times. And at the end of round 12, you should have 42 single crochets. I will meet you back on 13. All right, I forgot to say make sure you slip stitch and chain 1. All right, round 13, we are going to do 5 single crochets and then a decrease. So 1 single in each of the next 5. And then a decrease. All right, do that again. 1, 3, 4. All right, number 5, and then a decrease. All right, you're going to do that 4 more times again. And at the end of 13, you should have 36 stitches, single crochets. All right, round 14 is going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch around. I'll do part of the row with you so you can see the visual. Just 1 single crochet in each stitch. At the end of this round, you should still have 36 single crochets. All right, so continue on. When you get to the end of the row, make sure you slip stitch chain 1, and I'll meet you at round 15. All right, round 15, we are going to decrease again. So it's going to be 1 single in the next 4 and then a decrease. 1 in each of the next 4. And then a decrease. Okay, So that's what you're going to decrease, and after this round, we'll probably stuff it. At the end of round 15, you should have 30 single crochets. Alright, we are fixing to start round 16, but we are going to stuff this first. Now, this is probably going to take quite a bit amount of stuffing, but do not overstuff to where it's going to stretch it out. But it will take quite a bit. Because it is a bigger piece. This is technically the thigh. And if you need to, you can always push it out into the sides to help fill it out. We will add some more here in a little bit, but that'll help hold the shape for now. Alrighty, so round 16, we are going to do one single crochet in the next 3 stitches and a decrease. All right, 3, and then a decrease. Three, and then a decrease. All right, one single in the next 3. And a decrease. One single in the next 3. And a decrease. One single in the next 3, decrease, and one more time, one single in the next 3, and a decrease. All right, slip stitch. Chain 1. At the end of round 16, you should have 3. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sorry. You should have 24 single crochets. Yeah, I don't know. I was looking at one single in 3 stitches. Sorry about that. All right, round 17. Is one single crochet in each stitch around. Alright, and at the end of this row, you should still have 24 single crochets. We got one more decrease round to do. And then we are going to do short rows for the bend in the back leg. All right, slip stitch, chain 1. Round 18. It's going to be the same round as 15. We are going to do 1 single crochet in 4 and then a decrease. All right, so 1 single in the next 4. And then a decrease. 1 single in the next 4. And a decrease. Hate when that happens. My tension's too tight, I guess. 1 single in the next 4 and a decrease. And one more time. 1 single in the next 4 and a decrease. All right. Now, I'm not going to stuff it right this second. It will be too hard to show you the short rows. But if you want to add some more stuffing before you continue, you can, or we will do it after. All right. For the short rows, same as before, and when we did the short rows, we're going to turn, but do not chain 1 when you turn. All right, so we are going to single crochet. First of all, let me state from round 18, you should have 20 stitches, 20 single crochets. We are going to crochet 10 now for the short rows. So 1 single in the next 10. Okay, I'm just double checking. Always good to check every so often to make sure. Alright, so the second short row, we are just going to single crochet 10 again across. No decreasing right now, so 1 single in each stitch. Okay. Turn, do not chain. All right, now we are going to do a decrease. Do a normal decrease, not an invisible decrease. All right, and we are going to single crochet 6, so 1 single in the next 6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now a decrease in the last 2 stitches. Turn, do not chain. We are going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch. You should have 8 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, next turn, do not chain. We are going to do a decrease. One single in the next 4. And number 4, and a decrease. All right, next, 1 single in each stitch. We're going to have 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Turn, do not chain. We're going to do a decrease. 1 single in the next 2. And another decrease. All right, now we are going back to 19. This is joining back in to the round. We are going to put 4 single crochets down the side, and so we are going to just try to evenly space them out wherever you possibly can. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now remember, this is not a stitch there, so go here. All right, and we're going to do 9 more singles across. So actually we did 10 on this row here. We're going to do 4 singles evenly spaced out up the side. and then we're going to single crochet 4. This is where we did that decrease. Make sure you get it. These were the 2 at the top, and then this one is the other decrease from the short row. Alright, slip stitch into that stitch there and chain 1. Alright, round 20. Before we do 20, we need to add some more stuffing real quick. Finish filling out this area. Finish filling out the hip area or the thigh. All right. Now, next, we are going to decrease a little bit. We are going to do 3 single crochets. So, 1, 2, and 3. Now, where it curves right here, these 2 stitches, we are going to do a decrease. We'll do an invisible decrease. And then we are going to do 8 single crochets. So 1 single crochet in the next 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we're at the curve on this side. We're going to do another decrease. And 7 single crochets. So 1 single in the next 7. All right, and slip stitch. Chain 1. Round 21, you should have 20 stitches now at the end of round 20. 20 on 20. All right, so rounds 21 through 24 is 1 single crochet in each stitch round. Alright, slip stitch, chain 1. Do rows 22, 23, and 24, and I will meet you back on row 25. Alright, round 25. I just got finished stuffing the bend for the leg, and you make sure you want to fill it out, but don't overstuff because it needs to be able to bend right here a little bit so the leg sits flat. Alright. So, for round 25, we are going to do 1 single crochet in the next 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease. And then we're going to repeat that again. So 1 single in the next 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You should have 2 stitches left to do a decrease. Alright, and then slip stitch, chain 1. You should have 18 single crochets now. Round 26, another decrease round. We are going to do 7 single crochets and a decrease. Alright, so 1 single crochet in each stitch in the first 7, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then a decrease. And once more, 1 single crochet in the next 7. Alright, and a decrease. Alrighty. You should have 16 single crochets now. Rounds 27 through 37 is going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch around, with a total of 16 stitches each round. At the end of round 37, slip stitch, but do not chain 1. Alright, I'll work 27 with you, and then I'll meet you at the end of 37. Then we're going to do the toes for this one. Stuff as you go. Every couple of rounds, add some stuffing. Alright, slip stitch and chain 1 at the end of each round, and I will meet you back at the end of 37. Alright, so I'm at the end of round 37. I slip stitched and just pulled a little through. Now, what we're going to do, you'll need your 4 stitch markers again. Alright, so if you look at where you joined, count 4 stitches to the right of your join. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Place a marker there. That is stitch number 13. Alright. Now, you are going to place another marker where you slip stitched. Actually, what we're going to do is go ahead and snip your yarn. And fasten it off by pulling it through that loop. Snugging it down. And if you want, shove it inside. Alright, and where that join is, you're going to place a marker there. Alright, that's stitch number 1. Now we're going to place a marker in stitch number 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And on the 5th stitch, so 3, 4, and stitch number 5. Alright, this is going to be very similar to how we did the toes before, except our starting toe is further back on this leg, on the back leg. Alright, we will add a little more stuffing before we do the last 2 toes. Alright, so we're going to make a slip knot. And we are going to go in the 13th stitch, the one off to the side here, and join your yarn. We can take that marker out now. do 1 single crochet where you joined it, and 1 in the next 3. Alright, so this is going to be the first toe, so we don't have to put the yarn to the back because it's already back there. Come to the first stitch, and do a single crochet. Alright, and you should have 3 stitches. Do 1 in each of the 3. The other stitch is kind of pulled a little tighter, so alright, pull yarn tail out, snip it, we're going to thread the needle, go through the front loops of the 4 stitches, and tighten it down. Alright, your first stitch is here on the side. Two, 3, and 4. Alright, pull tightly closed. Now this is the top of the foot, so turn it to the back side and go through. Okay, shove your tail in there. I try to go beside the crochet and then cover it up with the stuffing. Alright, the next toe we are going to join where our join was, which I guess we could have done that toe first, but yeah. Alright, so remove your stitch marker. I try to crochet over the tail. Alright, do 1 single crochet and then 1 in the next stitch. Very similar to how we did the second toe on the other one, we're going to bring the yarn around to the back. We're going to skip 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You should have 2 left. Do 2 single crochets here. Let me rephrase that. Do 1 single crochet in these 2 stitches here, not 2 in that stitch. All right. There's our 4. And if you actually turn it this way, it brings your yarn to the back. All right. Stretch out those stitches a little. Now we're going to go in this front first stitch and single crochet, and the next one is there. Okay, 2 more. The next one is kind of on the side here a little. There it is. Okay, 1 more to go. All right, pull out a little tail, snip the yarn, pull it through. First stitch is right here. Kind of pull it up a little. Go through the front loops only. Second one. Third one. And the fourth one. Pull closed. Turn to the back. We're just going to hide that one like that. Okay, 2 toes left. Now, if you want to add some more stuffing, I would, but I wouldn't recommend adding too much more. You don't want it, same as the front leg, you don't want it too fat. All right. third toe, slip knot. We're going to join in this stitch marker. And we're going to single crochet back into where we just joined. And in the next stitch, put a single crochet. And then we're going to skip 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Bring your yarn to the back and go in here and then there. Alright, one more. Okay, now we're going to do the second row. Turn it to where your yarn is in the back. Pull my stitch up just a tad. Caught a string. Ah. Alright, one single. One in the next here. Okay, now the 2 from the front. Man, that stitch is really loose. Alright, one more. Okay, now we are going to close it off. And after this, one more toe. Alright, get the one on the side. Okay, that's the fourth one. Pull closed. tighter on that one. All right, one last toe to go. All right. Now, take this stitch marker out. There we go. Go back in and do a single crochet. Oh, I just grabbed the tail or some yarn from somewhere. All right, try this again. There we go. One single crochet. Now, one in the next three. All right. Turn. We're going to do second row. Okay, one last stitch. There we go. Now, leave an extra long tail on this one because we're going to fix the gap. Thread the needle. Go through the front loops. One, two, three, and four. Pull closed. Turn to the back. Okay. Now we're going to go back up beside, out the side of the toe. Actually, go a little under. So like that. And now we're going to go through the middle of each toe. Like this. Kind of space out a little so it's not too tight or wonky. Kind of flatten. Then when you're satisfied with that, weave it back in. If you can still see the string, do like that. Okay, now weave in your tail. A couple of times. Okay, and that is the back leg. And we are done with the first one. Make sure you do the second one. And next up is the body. It is the biggest piece and it will take the most time. Alrighty, off we go.